Okay, hello everybody, shalom. Um, as promised, I said I would come back and do more videos. I know it's been a little while since the last video I did, but I did want to, stick to what I said I was going to do and actually start doing more videos. I wanted to follow this video up. I wanted to follow up from my last video, kind of going into a testimony. I know my first initial video was kind of a testimony as far as how I came into the truth. About who we are as a people, but this video I wanted to kind of talk about really how the Most High took me out of sin. I mean, I was out there, and I was doing a lot of things I knew better than to do. So I want to kind of go into that. So I'm gonna have to go back a few years. I'm going to go back to, let's say, it was about 2006, 2007. At this point, I was, I graduated from college. I'm living, in the big city and living on my own, working, no kids, and just kind of living however I wanted to live, doing what I wanted to do. I grew up in the church. I grew up in a Christian church from, the time I was, I remember going to church as early as about 4. I remember going to church. And so I had a good foundation of knowing right from wrong, knowing what's sin and what's not sin. But at the same time, I grew up in an environment of mostly women, raising kids, not a lot of father figures. I had a relationship with my dad growing up. It wasn't the closest relationship. I would see him a few times during the year, go over and visit, spend a weekend with him or whatever, me and my sister. But for the most part, the environment I grew up in was, saturated with pretty much a bunch of sin. So, on a regular basis, I saw smoking, I saw drinking, I saw bunch of babies born out of wedlock and boyfriends and all kinds of stuff. So this is what I grew up around. Now, I knew right from wrong, like I said, but, growing up, I was the good girl. I didn't do drugs. I didn't skip school. I was, in school, I was really smart. And so I don't think anybody thought to even talk to me about certain things. I didn't get talked to about, get lectured about, doing the right thing because like I said, I was the good kid. But when I left and when I went to college, I experienced my first, truly for the first time, I experienced freedom from my mom, who was, well, actually, she's my aunt. My biological mom passed when I was 3. It was domestic violence. But my aunt, my mom's sister, took me and my sister, and she raised us as her own. So I say my mom, but she's really my aunt. But she was strict, and I really thank her for that, because I could have been a lot worse. But like I was saying, when I went off to college, I experienced I experienced freedom for the first time, and I kind of like just went a little crazy. I got into a bunch of stuff, and drinking and smoking and doing drugs. When I say doing drugs, I mean like marijuana, and during that time, a lot of people were popping ecstasy. That's pretty much the extent as far as drugs go. It was ecstasy and smoking marijuana, but anywho, that's bad enough. But I mean, I didn't do ecstasy all the time. It was like special occasions, if something was a party or something was going on or something like that, every now and again. But anywho, so fast forward a few years, I graduated from college and moved to the nearest city, big city. So I'm working, I'm living on my own, like I said, and no kids, no nothing. So I just pretty much could do whatever I wanted to do. So during this time, I'm just like, just kind of like living however I wanted to live, and, doing what I wanted to do. And, like I said, fast forward to about 2006, 2007, I'm still just living and doing what I want to do. during that time, I was living in some apartments, and I had a boyfriend for years. We were together about 8 years on and off, mostly on, but on and off. But when we finally just kind of cut it, you know, completely cut ties, was when I just started kind of just like wilding out, really wilding out. Um, During that time, I can truly say, looking back, um, I was feeling alone, and to have any kind of company, you know, even if it was the wrong company, was welcomed. You know, I was fornicating. Still, I was heavily drinking during that time. Pretty much every day, I was drinking, like drinking and smoking cigarettes and smoking weed and all kinds of stuff. And not all kinds of stuff, that was the extent, just, you know, heavily drinking. So, you know, I kept, on my bar at home, I kept a fifth of liquor. And like literally across the street from me by the grocery store was a liquor store. So whenever my liquor was running low, all I had to do was go across the street and get another bottle. And so I kept it in supply. And um, yeah, I was just, like I said, just living my life however I wanted to live. No thought of the consequences or whatever. During that time, I was still, you know, I was still going to church, you know, and that was kind of like on and off, not really consistent, but, you know, I was still going to church. And the church that I was attending on fourth Sundays, they would have what's called a street ministry. Now, even though I was living my life however I wanted to live my life, you know, I'm genuinely, I'm still a nice person. I wouldn't say I'm a good person, because there's no such thing as a good person. But, you know, I was nice, you know, to my friends, and I would, you know, go out my way to do stuff for people. And so I was, you know, I was really liked by my friends. I was, you know, the nice person, opened up my home to whatever people wanted to do, and always having get-togethers, and the nice bubbly person. Even though during that time I smiled, I had a smile on my face, but I was sad inside. But one fourth Sunday, we went to these apartments, and what we would do with street ministry, we would go to like a low-income, impoverished area, and we would walk around the area, walk around the apartments, and we would just see people out on Sundays, and we would just go and talk to them. The pastor would witness to these people, or we would pray for them. And so I remember this one particular Sunday, we went out and we were walking around, and we came to this lady, and she was sitting in the grass in a chair by herself. And the pastor went up and asked her, you know, do you have a relationship with Jesus? And she said yes. She said, but you know, if y'all could pray for me, I'd appreciate it. So, you know, we all joined hands and we prayed for her. And then one by one, the men, they walked off, but one by one, the women who were in the circle, we went and gave the lady a hug. And so I was the last person to give her a hug. And so when I hugged her, she kind of grabbed my shoulders, and she kind of pushed me back from her, and she was just like, you do so much good for other people that God has some big blessings for you. And I was like, wow, you know, it was a little bit of in awe, because I had never heard anything like that, you know, somebody speaking to me like that. And so I'm thinking something short term, like, you know, I'm gonna find some money on the ground or something. And then, you know, time passed and I forgot about it. Anywho, so this was about 2011. I'm still living in Houston. I'm still doing what I want to do. I'm still living how I wanted to live. And during that time, I was working. I had a government job, and I did something I wasn't supposed to do. I falsified a visit. And you know, I knew I was going to get fired for it, so I ended up resigning. So during this time, I wasn't working, so I came home to Dallas, and you know, I was here, kind of with my family and all that. And so during that time, my sister was pregnant with my nephew. It was a difficult pregnancy for her, and I went back think I was kind of back and forth to Dallas during that time, but you know, I went back home, and I remember one of my friends I went to high school with, she reached out to me on Facebook through Messenger, and she was kind of, you know, speaking to me, and we were kind of talking, going back and forth, and she was asking me, you know, like, how's your sister doing? And I'm like, you know, she's going through, oh, I forgot to mention this friend. She had a ministry. She was called herself a prophetess, I'm sorry. And so she had a ministry or whatever, and so I was like, you know, she going through, so just, you know, just pray for her or whatever, because it was a real bad pregnancy. I mean, she had to have a PICC line, you know, she wasn't able to keep anything down. And then, so she was like, okay, you know, I pray for her, and I was like, I'm going through too, so pray for me. And that's when I, you know, I had just lost my job, and so, so she said, okay. Then she started just out the blue. She was just like, you know, I didn't want to do this, but pretty much she was saying that the Lord was telling her that there's some people that I like to hang around, but that He wanted me to separate myself from these people. He wanted me to rededicate my time to Him, because He's moving me on a different path. And so I was like, okay, wow, okay, all right. So during that time, I wasn't working, like I said, and but you know, the friends that I had in Houston, pretty much, these people, I mean, we were all young, but all of us, what we had in common really was we smoked, you know. So since I didn't have any kids, or I didn't have any, you know, I didn't have a boyfriend or anything, so all my friends would come over, and my house would be like the place where everybody went to smoke. So I knew if I told them that, you know, I'm cutting it off, I used the excuse that I'm looking, you know, I'm about to start looking for another job, so I'm about to stop smoking. You know, I sent out a text. I sent out a group text that basically, you know, I'm about to start looking for a job, and, you know, I'm about to stop smoking. So, you know, if you think you're gonna come over here for that, you can't do it here anymore. And I knew by me saying that they were gonna stop coming over like they were, because I mean, my friends were coming over like every day. Even if we didn't smoke, they were still coming over every day. And then, like, once I sent that text message out, one by one, my friends stopped coming over, and I ended up being left with one friend, and to this day we're still good friends. And so anywho, after that, I found out, well, I found a job close by, and I started working there. I really didn't like the job, but you know, I had to work. So during that time, I had just found out that my sister, who was pregnant, she had just found out that my nephew, who she was pregnant with, was going to be born with disabilities. He has some kind of chromosomal disorder. He was going to be born with disabilities, and you know, she was real messed up about that. Then I found out that my mom was diagnosed, that she pretty much had been diagnosed with it years before. I'm not gonna say what it was, but yeah, she had been diagnosed with it years ago, but hadn't told any of her kids, any of the family, but that she had just found it, that she had just revealed it to some of our family members. And so at that point, I was just like, you know what, because I had been wanting to move back home, but at that point, I was like, you know what, I'm at a job I don't want to be at. I'm going back home. So I moved back home, thinking I'm coming home to be there for my family and to help them during this time, not knowing what the Most High was setting me up for. So I come home, I'm living with my sister, helping her out till she gave birth to my nephew. And right after I moved back home, death just started to happen back to back in my family. So I moved back, and it was around August 2011 I moved back. In October 2011, I ended up meeting the man who's my husband today. And it's just like after that, back to back, people started to pass like year after year. 2012, my nephew was born. Well, my nephew was born 2011. He was born October 2011. He ended up passing in January 2012. So first my nephew, he was only a few months, spent most of his life in NICU. So my nephew passes. Then 2012, my grandmother passes. Then in 2013, my aunt passes, my mom, she passed. Then in 2014, my uncle passes, like my favorite uncle, he passes. And so I was seeing death back to back. And for anybody to lose that many people in such a short period of time, I don't know, people handle death different ways. And sometimes I will wonder, is something wrong with me because it didn't affect me as far as me going into some deep depression about it, especially if I felt like that person had a good relationship. Honestly, I feel like wherever a person is, when they pass, whatever judgment it comes their way, is righteous. I have that much faith in the Most High that whatever His judgment is, whatever His timing for things are, that it's righteous. And so I don't question it. I grieved all my family members who passed. I grieved, but did I go into a depression about it? No, because I have trust in the Most High. So during this time, while these people are passing, at the same time, the Most High is blessing me. So like I said, in 2011, I met my husband. Now, we didn't do things the right way. We didn't. And I had to repent for that. We were staying with each other. We were unwed. I got pregnant with my daughter. I have a daughter now. I got pregnant with my daughter only a few months after meeting him, and that's because I felt like he was the one, and so I have my daughter. The next year, he proposes to me. A few months later, we get married because we were trying to plan the wedding for around our anniversary month, which was October, and I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to plan this big wedding. If something happens and we live it like this, I'm destined. We're destined for hell, and I don't want that. So I'm like, look, we're gonna do this the right way. We're just gonna go to the courthouse, and we're gonna get this done and get married. So we did that like a week later, and we closed on our first house together, a beautiful home, brand new. I don't even know how we got this home because the way the housing market was at that time and is now, it's a buyer's market. So the houses that we were looking at, either they were overpriced, they were going quick. So there was some things going on as far as credit leading up to us getting this house, and it took us a few years of trying to get our credit together and make sure we have everything in place before. But this house, it was brand new. It was on the market, but the way it was posted, it was only like schematics of the blueprints. It wasn't like actual pictures of the home, because I'm telling you, if it was actual pictures of the home, we wouldn't have gotten this house. So the night we came to go look, we went around to other houses with the realtor, and then when we came to this house, we were like, both of me and my husband were like, oh my goodness, this is it. And it was priced so good, and so we actually got into our first home. And what I can say about the relationship that me and my husband have is like, and we talk about this even to today, that how we are, people say that, the whole you complete me and all that. When I say that where I'm weak, he's strong, and where I'm strong, he's weak, and so we really complement each other, it's unreal. That's why I know that the relationship, as far as bringing me and him together, was truly from the Most High, because there would not have been, if we would have met any time before we met, or possibly after, it probably wouldn't be the connection that we had when we met. Like, we met at the perfect time wherever we were in each one of our individual lives. And so, anywho, I say all that to say, I think back on the woman who spoke to me, and she was like, God has some big blessings for you. When I tell you, when I came back to Dallas thinking I was coming back to help other people, the Most High helped me. because I was in such a depression in Houston. Nobody knew it because, like I said, I was the person who was always happy and smiling and, you know, joking and making everybody laugh and like the life of the party. But inside, I wouldn't say I was dead. I put on a mask, you know, and nobody really knew what I was going through. And so me coming back and meeting my husband and having my child, she's so beautiful. I wish I could show y'all her. She's so beautiful. Like, before growing up, because I didn't see that strong example of a family, I didn't really have that to look forward to. And you know, when I would be with my friends and sometimes I didn't get to come home on the weekends or sometimes even during holiday breaks, you know, I would go with my friend, my best friend during that time, and I would see that and I was like, you know, I never thought about even getting married. I never thought about a family because I didn't see that growing up. I didn't look forward to anything like that. But when I saw that, I was like, I want that, you know, and I felt like, I guess during that time when I was single and kind of just doing whatever I wanted to do, like I wasn't going to get that. You know, you have all these, uh, you know, women who kind of dog men out and say, you know, all men are, you know, or they just, you know, they gonna cheat on you or blah, blah, blah. So I really didn't have a good example of looking forward to that. And so when I came back here and it almost happened instantly, I didn't do right by it initially. I didn't. And like I said, I had to repent to the Most High for that, for the way that we jumped into our relationship with each other. And but it's been a blessing. Um, you know, since I moved back and being with my husband, I have somebody to hold me accountable. You know, as far as like disciplining myself. You know, stopping all the smoking and the drinking, living a healthier lifestyle, eating better, working out on a regular basis. You know, just taking care of my body. And in the meantime, actually growing closer to the Most High, because when you see what he can do in your life, like, it's amazing. And I saw it firsthand what he did in my life, because I know if I would have stayed in Houston, if I wouldn't have met my husband, I would have still been destined for hell. So he knew exactly what I needed, and he provided that to me to get me out of that lifestyle of sin without accountability. So I didn't want to draw this out and make this too long, but yeah, that's my testimony as far as before I came into the truth of who we are, how the Most High just perfectly moved things around in my life, and removed things out of my life to change the person that I was into the person that I am. I'm constantly asking for the Most High to give me discernment and to give me wisdom. And I truly know that he has done that, because I can look at things from a different perspective and I see it in a worldly way. Like all this materialism in our community, and trying to be look better than everybody else, or trying to have the best of everything just so you can be able to shine, or flex on people. We say flex or whatever, you know, just to say that you have it or to show that you're better than other people. I see beyond all that, you know. And so anywho, that's it, y'all. I just wanted to kind of get on here and do this real quick testimony. So hopefully it can bless somebody. Don't give up on the Most High. Believe that whatever situation that you're in, that he is powerful enough to change anybody, to change any situation, to remove the things out of your life that you don't need and put the people in your life who you're gonna need. If you truly seek him, if you truly want him, if you truly want better for your life, all you have to do is seek him. Seek him. A relationship is the most important thing with the Most High. All these outward things are not. A relationship is. And when you have that relationship, everything else is going to follow, because he's going to allow his spirit, his ruach, to guide you and lead you to where he wants you to be. And I'm not perfect at this point. I'm still a work in progress. I still have things that I'm working on, but I have come so far. And I'm looking forward to what he has for me moving forward and what he wants me to do. So that's it, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day, blessed evening, whatever time of the day is. Have a blessed one. Y'all, shalom.